Hello everybody, I'm Sharon from IntoLuckyVisions.com, and I wanted to check in with you today, the start of your week, to see how you're doing. Venus went retrograde on Saturday, and that is the planet of love, beauty, and relationships and money. You may find that a lot of your relationships become under the spotlight over the next 6 weeks this month, and even the relationship to yourself, primarily the relationship to yourself. Everything stems out of the relationship that you have with your own internal world. So you have to take care of yourself first before you can relate to the outer world in your best self, in your fullest potential. It's most important to nurture yourself and to be kind to yourself inside. I know that most of us have quite a loud internal chatter. When we sit in silence, we find that mental chatter is not very nice, as we are our greatest critics, we are our greatest judges, and we have very high expectations for ourselves that are often not met because they're so high and unrealistic that we can constantly be disappointed because we feel like we can't match up to what we aim for ourselves. So I invite you here to really be more gentle, be more forgiving with yourself, be more compassionate. Look at your current circumstances. Look at what you are dealing with in your life, maybe the many plates and issues and things that you have to juggle on a daily basis, and know that you are doing your best. You're doing everything that you possibly can for yourself, for others, and for your current situation. So please have more forgiveness and compassion for where you're at, and be grateful for all that you do have, all the many talents, all the many gifts, all the many skills and efforts and beauty and grace that you do hold. And yes, we have our shadow side, and that's not something that we should ignore. I'm not saying that we should have blinders on to be totally ignorant of the parts of ourselves that we don't really like. I'm saying to love the whole, to love the amazing parts and the funky parts that you don't really like or that you don't want to show to the world, because this makes up you. It makes the whole of who you are. And it's often something that you don't show to the world because maybe you're embarrassed by it, or you feel that people will judge you by the way that you truly are within. And I'm here to remind you that we all have those sides. We all have the many aspects of things that we don't necessarily feel proud of within ourselves. But when you look at nature, you can see that nature reflects that there are plants and animals out there that have these dualistic aspects about them. I love cacti. I live in the desert. I love trees. But most of the trees and plants out here have thorns. They're so beautiful to look at. There's so many different forms and colors and species. It's amazing. But they have thorns. And you could see that as a side of being just what they are and what they represent. Or you could see it as a drawback, that you can't touch this beautiful form in nature because it has something that would hurt you. But look at the purpose of it. It has thorns because it's protective. It gets really hot here in the summer. And so all the animals and insects are looking for water. They're looking for nourishment. And within the skin of the cacti, or gallons of water within the succulent, within the meat of the cactus. If you ever sliced open a cactus, you would see how juicy and how wet it is inside, that it's holding all of that water within. But it's also its life force. It's also what it is. So it's ultimately designed by nature to protect itself. In these hot months, it's protecting itself from its own demise. So if you can see the parts of yourself that do exist within you, having a purpose, having a lesson of growth, something that has taught you. And I am one to admit that I am a soft, sensitive person, but I also have a type of assertion about my personality that I have noticed over the years. And I've also grappled with the concept of anger. And I admit this here because I think that it's something that many of us have grappled with over the years, of expressing our anger in a safe and healthy way, to really let it out, but not letting it out at somebody in an unhealthy manner, and not keeping it in, because the more we keep it in, the more it festers and turns into disease and turns into something that is out of our control at that point, and it's starting to make us sick because we haven't let it out. It's an energy that we need to expel. Things can come up. Things can irritate us, frustrate us in life as we're growing and being tested here on boot camp Earth. So it's important to find ways to channel that energy. And I've learned that anger can be a beneficial tool. And I've learned to channel that energy myself in a very positive way. Exercising, creating. You don't always have to create things that are fluffy and pretty and beautiful. Sometimes you want to get out that darkness, that anger, that intensity, that power in the things that you're creating, because it's a human, animalistic emotion and it's part of life. So I invite you to go within this month. Don't be afraid to be introspective. Look at yourself. Look at the patterns of thought that you're creating within your mind about yourself, about others, about your world. And don't be afraid of the emotions and the shadow aspects of yourself that are coming up for you to look at. Because they're there to teach you, and they're there to remind you that you can channel them into ways that are beneficial for you to grow from, evolve, and to step into a new level of growth in your life. So they're just as a part of you as the other sides of you that you would like to put on a pedestal and feel admirable about. The shadow aspects you can also feel admirable about, because it's all the same. It is all life. It is all you, and we are all connected to the big expanse of creation. Now, if you are having any issues or difficulties with looking at that, or there are things coming up for you that are uncomfortable and you're trying to release them and get them out of your system, that's understandable this month, or any time for that matter. I invite you to contact me on entelechyvisions.com. It's ENTELECHY visions.com. And I practice a modality called Violet Alchemy Healing. And I do offer long distance sessions which facilitate that very need of helping to release and transform and transmute things that are uncomfortable and that need healing within us and in our energy fields and physicality. So you can reach me there to book a session. In the meantime, I invite you to have an amazing exploratory month. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and all will evolve in the way that it needs to.